Hello everybody, welcome to the Ford Tech Steve YouTube channel and Happy New Year. This video should be going up on either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, so hopefully everybody had a safe New Year's. Didn't lose any fingers to fireworks or anything. I know it's not 4th of July, but people like to play with fireworks. As you can see from the state of the bed of the Ranger, we have a lot of work to do today. Doing a lowering kit. DJM is the brand we're using. So it's a flip kit in the rear, supposed to be for 3-inch drop. Doing a 2-inch spring up front. So I'm a little concerned about that because the truck already doesn't really seem to have much of a rake, but we'll see what happens there. We are doing some Powerstop brake pads and rotors, as well as their calipers. So that's going to be done in the front. We've got fresh bearings and everything over here, new dust caps, cheapo sway bar links for the front. And we are also going to be doing shocks. That's part of the lowering kit. And then we've got new upper and lower control arms for the front, because a lot of the rubber bushings and everything up front on this truck are just cooked. So it's time to replace them. All right, so they do send this nice little installation guide. Doesn't really have much in the way of instructions in it, but the good part about this is it gives you the pre-measurements. So the pre-measurements for this truck, I mean, you can stand in front of this truck and see that it's not level now. So the driver's side sits a little bit lower than the passenger side. So I'm kind of assuming that's going to be a lot because of worn springs. I mean, they're almost 20 years old? Or actually, no, they are 20 years old. This is a 2004. So they could be worn. It's only 92,000 miles on the truck, but obviously the weight's been on those springs its whole life. So, front springs obviously get replaced. We'll have some other, if we think it's still unlevel, especially in the rear, I can put new leaf springs in the back later. But for right now, let's get working on this. We're going to start with the rear. So let's get this thing jacked up. All right, we're going to start with the shock bolts. A little WD-40 on here, hopefully that helps us. Or just get all over me. There's one down. There's no way I'm getting an impact on that one. this thing is actually too low to take that shock out. Goodness. I think it's actually stuck in the shock. I think we might have to let this one sit a little bit. It's starting to come out. All right, one bolt out. All right, on the other side. It's off. there's nothing even holding this muffler together. Alright, so I think we're going to go ahead and pull these wheels off real quick. I was going to leave them on there, and then I was just getting to thinking that it'd be nice to have a little extra room in there. And then I think we'll tackle this side first. We're basically going to do this one side at a time. We're going to take the front bolt out. I'm going to undo the shackle and everything in the rear. We'll jack the axle up on this side and get it on the other side of the leaf spring. And then we'll start putting the other components in there. Alright, so we're going to take this front bolt out for the leaf spring. And unfortunately, the impact does not fit in there, so this is all going to end up being by hand. These are 24mm bolts. Alright. This is the only way I can get enough leverage on this thing to get it to turn. If only the wrench worked, or the impact fit. Alright, we're going to take the top shackle bolt off. Let's see if we can't take the other one off once we get it on the ground. It's moving, that's a nice thing. Alright, so this isn't really necessary, but I wanted to make sure this leaf spring pack didn't move anywhere. So I've got a C-clamp on either side of this. That'll let me take that pin out, swap it around. Shouldn't have to worry about it moving. And I need something on the other side to hold that. Alright, it took a lot of heating, but that nut finally came off. We're still going to reuse this. It's just going to go back through the opposite way. Put the nut back on. And that's what it takes. Alright, so here we go. We got that pin flipped. And went ahead and put the new shackle on back here. Now, there's basically two heights that you kind of go with. I'm going with this would make it taller, so it would be less of a drop. Mainly because this truck already kind of seemed like it was pretty level, and I don't want to have it look like it's doing the Carolina squat. So we're going to go ahead and go for that one, and if we don't like it, it's one simple bolt to move up a hole, and we'll be able to have a different height. All right, so we're going to jack the axle up on this side, and then we'll be able to put the brackets and everything underneath it to be able to put the leaf spring back in. This should give us enough height. All right, so this side is flipped. I'm gonna wait to tighten everything down until I get the other side done, and I'll do the U-bolts and stuff after I get the other side as well. That'll just let me make sure the axle is not binding up on anything. So I'm gonna do the other side real quick, and I will be back. All right, what's everybody think? Everything's done, both sides. I just basically have to go through and torque everything now that it's got weight back on it. But that is honestly a lot more than I thought it was going to be, but that looks awesome. So I'm going to start working on getting those tightened up. I'm going to go ahead and put the shocks on it. And we're going to move to the front, because right now the truck is level, which is kind of funny. So let's get this done, get the front end apart, and see what we can get. All right, we got the rear done. We're going to start working on the front now. All right, so this is where the fun begins. We're going to try to get these shock bolts out, or the nut off the top of these shocks, I should say. We're going to start there, and we're going to get the shock out, and then we'll get the rest of the stuff unbolted. This is getting old real quick. These dust caps are getting replaced, so don't have to worry about destroying them. Boom. I almost hate to replace these. It's really smooth. hate when cotter pins fight. I'm kind of assuming these were replaced recently. It's still getting new ones either way, but those are nice and clean. That's some pretty nice clean grease in there. That'll cut a finger off. All right, now I can get to this cotter pin down here, straighten it out, hammer it out, whatever needs to be done to it. Can't get on it. There we go, there's some movement. Boom. All right, so we're ready to put the jack underneath the lower control arm. And then we're gonna go ahead and take that top pinch bolt out and let it come down. So there's the difference. The gray one obviously is the new spring for the lowering kit. The black and muddy one is the old one. So we'll swap these out once we get the new control arms in. I think that's going to be a task for the morning. So I think we will end it off today right there and join me in the morning. All right, everybody, it's day 2. We are going to finish up the front end of this truck today, and if we're lucky, we'll be able to take it around the block. It'd be kind of cool to make sure nothing's actually hitting in weird spots or anything like that. So we'll see what we can do to get that done, but let's get back to work. All right, so I was able to get the lower ball joint apart. I did have to go to work and grab my pickle forks, but for right now, we're gonna work on getting that lower control arm out. Get the lower control arm out so we can actually put the new one in. Old one's out. All right, we're gonna go ahead and throw our new one in there. Then we'll do the upper, and then we'll put our spring and everything back in. All right, so we're going back in with the new one. We are using these. These are from Moog. These are just little eccentrics that you can put in there, make the alignment a lot easier to do. So we'll use these instead of using the factory bolts. So it's another way to upgrade hardware. All right, so we got the driver's side back together. The bolts back there are still loose. The nut back here is still loose. We'll have to tighten everything up yet, but those are the only ones I've actually tightened down, and those will end up getting loosened up again once it gets in alignment. So we'll do the tie rod and everything, knock that out. We'll put the brake rotors and stuff in. Still got to pack the bearings and everything for that. And then should be able to move on to putting wheels back on this thing soon and seeing what it looks like. All right, so we got our new brake rotor on. I'm going to put the shock on now. You may end up wanting to use like a press or something. This piece, the little T-bar that's in there, That does not come in the shock. Comes in a little baggie with it. So threw a little grease on there, and then I threw it in the press there and pushed it through. So you may end up wanting a press or something to do this. I tried hitting it with a hammer, but it's kind of finicky trying to get it in there. So this is what I had to do. All right, so we do have new brake calipers for this truck. I went ahead and threw the pads in there so I could throw this on as an assembly. This is actually the Powerstop one-click brake kit. So it comes with the drilled and slotted rotors, left and right, as well as the caliper, painted in red. Figured that'd look really cool shining through those wheels, plus the truck's red, so why not do it? I've always been a big fan of Powerstop. This isn't sponsored by them, but the only thing I've got to knock them on is their packaging. There's a chip here in the caliper bracket, and then this part down here, the edge of the caliper, a lot like, there's a little chip in there. Just this thing was, pushed all the way out because it didn't have any pads or anything in it. And, a few little pieces of foam thrown in there would have prevented that, I think. But just one of those things that, be ready to see some little stuff like that. But really, Powerstop's a good company. I'm sure if I talked to them about it, they'd probably send me a new one. But I'm not that worried about it on here. All right, this side is good to go. I do have to put my tie rod end connector on, or link, as well as move the brake line over. But the next time you guys see this, this is going to be back on all fours. I'm going to go ahead and knock the other side out. And just like that, we're done. Lowering kit is installed. Needs an alignment yet. This side's way off, but send it out to get an alignment and we'll be done. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Got the Ranger back outside. It's looking nice and low. I'm gonna take it for an alignment, have it done probably early next week, and then we will see how it looks after that. But thanks for watching, everybody. Hit like and subscribe on the video or on the channel and everything, and thanks again for the support.